Alarms blared as Han, Nari, Park, and Yoon-hee ran through the underground facility. The sounds of fighting echoed from all directions. "This way," Yoon-hee said, holding her bleeding head. "Emergency exit through the old subway tunnel." They turned a corner and found 3 Terran Purity soldiers blocking their path. The men raised their guns. "Stop right there," one shouted. Suddenly, Nari stepped forward. Her eyes glowed bright silver, and she raised her hands. The soldiers froze in place, their eyes unfocused. "Run," Nari said through gritted teeth. "I can't hold them long." They rushed past the frozen men and down another corridor. "What did you do to them?" Han asked. "Mind influence," Nari explained, breathing hard. "A skill I rarely use. It drains me." The emergency exit was a heavy metal door at the end of a long hallway. Just as they reached it, Agent Lee appeared from a side passage. Her clothes were torn, and she had a bruise on her face. "You're alive," Park said with relief. "Barely," Agent Lee replied. "Terran Purity has taken the upper levels. They're capturing Elysians." Yoon-hee punched a code into the keypad beside the door. It opened with a hiss, revealing a dark tunnel. "The old subway system," she explained. "It will lead us away from here." They entered the tunnel, using the light from Park's phone to see. The door closed behind them with a heavy thud. "Where does this lead?" Han asked. "About 2 kilometers east," Yoon-hee said, "to an abandoned station." As they walked through the dark tunnel, Agent Lee moved close to Nari. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. "Something important." Han watched them with curiosity. Agent Lee seemed nervous, which was unusual for her. "I'm not fully human," Agent Lee said finally. She pulled up her sleeve to show a faint blue glow beneath her skin. "I'm half Elysian." Everyone stopped walking. "How is that possible?" Park asked. "I was born 28 years ago," Agent Lee explained. "My mother was an Elysian scientist, my father a human doctor. I'm part of the first generation of hybrids." Han looked at Nari. "You said your people came to study genetic compatibility. They already knew it was possible." "The first Elysians must have conducted experiments," Nari said. "But this information wasn't shared with my group." "There are more like me," Agent Lee continued. "Not many, maybe 30 worldwide. We've been hiding, watching both humans and Elysians, trying to prevent exactly what's happening now." A loud explosion shook the tunnel. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They're blasting through the walls," Agent Lee said. "We need to move faster." They ran through the tunnel. Yoon-hee stumbled, still weak from her injury. Han helped her up. "Almost there," she gasped. The abandoned station appeared ahead. Dim emergency lights glowed, showing a platform covered in dust and old posters. "Now what?" Park asked as they climbed onto the platform. "I have a safe house nearby," Agent Lee said. "But with Terran Purity hunting us, nowhere is truly safe now." A distant sound of voices and footsteps echoed through the tunnel behind them. "They're coming," Han said. They left the station and emerged onto a quiet street. It was night, and this part of the city seemed empty. Han led Nari through the snowy forest. The research base lights glowed in the distance. The alien walked with strange grace despite the deep snow. "We must be careful," Han said. "There are 5 other scientists at the base. Dr. Kim Dai is the boss. He will tell the government if he sees you." Nari nodded. "I understand. Secrecy is wise." They reached the edge of the trees. The research base was small, just 3 low buildings surrounded by a fence. Han checked his watch. It was dinner time. Everyone would be in the main building. "We need to reach my lab without being seen," Han explained. "Then we can talk safely." They waited until no one was outside, then ran across the open space to the smallest building. Han scanned his card, and the door opened with a soft peep. They hurried inside. Han's lab was small but neat. Strange machines lined the walls. Glass cases held rock samples from Mars. A large computer sat on a desk in the corner. "You'll be safe here for now," Han said. "No one comes to my lab at night." Neri looked around with interest. "Your technology is simple, but clever." She touched a microscope gently. "You study rocks from other worlds." "Yes. I look for signs of life in them." Han smiled. "I never thought I'd meet actual alien life in person." Neri sat in a chair. "We have much to discuss, Han Ju. My people, the Elysia, have watched Earth for many years. This is our first direct contact." "Why me?" Han asked. "Why not contact world leaders?" "Leaders can be dangerous. They think of power first. We wanted someone who thinks of knowledge first." Neri's silver eyes seemed to look through him. "We read your research papers. You showed unusual understanding about how alien minds might work. You have an open mind." Han felt strange. His work mattered enough for aliens to notice it. "I need to know more about you," Han said. "How can you speak Korean so well?" "I have studied all Earth languages. We have been listening to your broadcasts for decades." Neri tapped her head. "My mind works differently than yours. I remember everything I hear or see." A knock at the door made them both jump. "Han, are you in there?" It was Park Sun, the communications specialist and Han's best friend at the base. "Hide," Han whispered to Neri. The alien quickly moved behind a large storage cabinet. Han opened the door slightly. Park stood there, smiling. He was shorter than Han, with round glasses and a friendly face. "You missed dinner," Park said. "I saved you some food." He held up a container. "Thanks, but I'm busy with work," Han said quickly. Park looked suspicious. "You're acting strange. What's going on?" Before Han could answer, a crash came from inside the lab. Neri had knocked over a tray of rock samples. Park pushed the door open wider. "Someone's in there." "Whoa." His words stopped when he saw Neri step out from her hiding place. His eyes went wide. "Please don't be afraid," Neri said. Park looked from the alien to Han, then back again. "What? Who is she?" Han sighed. "Park, this is Neri. She's not from Earth, and I need your help to keep her safe." Park's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Finally, he stepped into the lab and closed the door behind him. "You found an alien. An actual alien." His voice was a whisper. "And you didn't call me right away. I thought we were friends." Han was surprised. "You're not scared." "Scared? This is the greatest discovery in history." Park moved closer to Neri, studying her with wonder. "Hello. I'm Park Sun, communications specialist. It's amazing to meet you." Neri smiled for the first time. "Hello, Park Sun. Your friend Han was my first human contact. Now you are my second." "We need to keep her hidden," Han explained. "At least until we know it's safe to tell others." Park nodded seriously. Dr. Kim would call the military immediately, and who knows what they would do. He looked at Neri. "Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me." For the first time since finding the pod, Han felt hopeful. With Park's help, maybe they could figure out what to do next. "Thank you," Neri said. She touched Park's hand lightly. "Your kindness confirms what I hoped about humans." Outside the lab window, the northern lights continued to dance across the sky. Below them, two humans and an alien began to build a bridge between worlds. Seoul was a city of lights and tall buildings. Han had not been here in 5 years. The train arrived at night, and the city glowed like stars had fallen to Earth. "Stay close," Agent Lee said as they left the station. "Neri, keep your human form." Neri nodded. Her skin was now a normal human color, and her silver eyes had turned brown. She looked like a typical Korean woman, except for a slight glow that might be mistaken for good health. Han called his sister from another public phone. "We're here." They waited in the busy station, trying to blend in with the crowds. Park kept watch while Agent Lee made a call of her own. My contact will meet us at your sister's place, she told Han. The black car arrived 20 minutes later. The driver didn't ask questions, just drove them through the busy streets to a tall apartment building in Gangnam, an expensive area of Seoul. Yoon-hee was waiting in the lobby. She looked much like Han, the same eyes and straight nose, but her hair was short and stylish. She wore expensive clothes and had a cold look on her face. "Brother," she said stiffly. Then she noticed the others, especially Neri. Her eyes widened slightly. "Let's go upstairs." Yoon-hee's apartment was on the 20th floor. It was large and modern, with glass and steel everywhere. The view of Seoul at night was amazing. "Now explain," Yoon-hee said when they were inside. "Who are these people? Why are you running?" Han looked at Agent Lee, who nodded. "Show her," he said to Nari. Nari let her human disguise fade. Her skin turned blue again, and her eyes shined silver. Yoon-hee stepped back in shock. "This is Nari," Han said. "She's not from Earth." For a moment, Yoon-hee said nothing. Then, surprising everyone, she laughed. "So it's true," she said. "They really do exist." "You believe us?" Park asked. "Of course." Yoon-hee walked around Nari, studying her with interest. "At Techlobe, we've been analyzing strange signals from space for years. My team thought they might be alien communications." Agent Lee stepped forward. "Your company works with the government on this." "Some parts of the government," Yoon-hee said carefully. "Others would rather keep aliens a secret." A knock at the door made everyone tense. Nari quickly changed back to her human form. Yoon-hee checked the security camera. "It's Choi Jun, my colleague." She opened the door. A man in his 30s entered. He was tall with kind eyes and a serious face. "I came as soon as you called," he said to Yoon-hee. Then he saw the others and smiled. "You must be Han. And is one of you the visitor?" Agent Lee moved closer to Nari. "How do you know about that?" Choi held up his hands. "I'm a friend. I work with others who want peaceful contact." He looked directly at Nari. "You can show your true self. You're safe here." Slowly, Nari changed back to her blue-skinned form. Choi didn't seem surprised. "Beautiful," he said softly, "just like the others." "Others?" Han asked sharply. "What others?" Choi and Yoon-hee exchanged looks. "You're not the first," Choi said to Nari. "There are other Elysians on Earth. Some have been here for years." This news shocked everyone. Even Agent Lee seemed surprised. "How many?" Nari asked. 12 that we know of," Choi said. "They live in secret, some in positions of power and influence." "That's not possible," Agent Lee said. "We would know." "Not if they didn't want you to know," Choi replied. "They can change their appearance, like Nari. They look human." Han's mind raced. Aliens had been living on Earth, and no one knew. "There's more," Choi continued. "We have a place where humans and Elysians work together. A secret facility under the city. I can take you there tomorrow." "Why would you help us?" Park asked. "Because the future depends on it," Choi answered. "Both human and Elysian futures." He looked at Nari. "Your mission isn't just about making contact. It's about survival for both our species." Nari nodded slowly. "Yes, my people are dying out. We need new genetic material. And humans need the Elysians' knowledge," Yoon-hee added. "Their technology could help solve our biggest problems." That night, as the others slept, Han stood by the window, looking out at Seoul. The city looked peaceful, unaware of the alien living among them, or of the others who had been here for years. "Can't sleep." Nari appeared beside him, in her true blue form. "Too much to think about," Han admitted. "Tomorrow we meet more of my kind," Nari said. "I didn't know they were here. Are you happy about that?" Nari was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. I was sent because we thought I would be the first. Now I learned that others came before me, in secret." Han could hear the confusion in her voice. Whatever happens, we're in this together, he said. Nari's silver eyes met his. Yes, you were my first human, Hanju. I will always follow your lead. Dawn broke over the forest. Agent Lee woke everyone early. We have a long way to go, she said, checking her phone. I've arranged transport at a small town 20 miles south. They ate a quick breakfast of energy bars from Park's pack. Nari studied the food with curiosity before taking a small bite. This tastes interesting, she said politely. Han laughed. That's a nice way of saying it's terrible. They left the cabin and continued through the forest. The morning was cold but clear. Birds sang in the trees, unaware of the tension below. By midday, they reached a road. Agent Lee led them to an old truck hidden under branches. My backup plan, she explained. We can drive to the town from here. The truck was rusty, but it started. Han sat in front with Agent Lee while Park and Nari squeezed in the back. Nari changed her appearance again, looking human to any who might see her. Where are we going after we reach town? Han asked. Seoul, Agent Lee said, keeping her eyes on the road. Your sister lives there, right? Han was surprised. Yoon-hee? Yes, but how did you know about her? We've been watching you for months, Dr. Han. Ever since we detected signals aimed at Earth from deep space. Agent Lee gave him a quick look. We knew they were coming. We just didn't know who they would contact first. The small town appeared ahead. It was just a few buildings around a main street. Agent Lee parked behind a gas station. Wait here, she said, getting out. I need to make contact. While they waited, Han turned to look at Nari. She seemed tired from holding her human appearance for so long. Are you okay? He asked. Yes, she whispered. But this form is difficult to maintain. Park looked out the window. I think we're being watched. Han followed his gaze. A man in a black jacket was staring at their truck from across the street. Something's wrong, Han said. Agent Lee returned quickly, her face tense. Change of plans. Our contact was compromised. We need to leave now. She started the truck, but before they could move, 3 black SUVs pulled into the street, blocking their path. Terran purity, Agent Lee hissed. She reached under her seat and pulled out a small device. Hold on. She pressed a button and threw the device out the window. A bright flash and loud bang followed. Under cover of the confusion, Agent Lee drove the truck through a narrow gap between buildings. How did they find us? Park shouted over the noise of the engine. They must have tracked my phone, Agent Lee said. She threw her phone out the window. We need to get to the train station in the next town. It's our only chance now. The truck bounced along a dirt road, the SUVs in pursuit. Nari's human disguise flickered as she struggled to maintain it. I can't hold this form much longer, she said. Just a little more, Han encouraged her. They reached the next town an hour later, having lost their pursuers on the back roads. The train station was small but busy enough for them to blend in. Agent Lee bought tickets with cash. The train leaves in 20 minutes. It goes to Seoul. While they waited, Han called his sister from a public phone. Yoon-hee, it's me, Han. Brother, this is unexpected. His sister's voice was cool. They hadn't spoken in years. I need your help, Han said. I'm coming to Seoul with some friends. We need a place to stay. There was a long pause. What kind of trouble are you in? I can't explain on the phone, but it's important. More important than our fight. Another pause. Fine. Call me when you reach Seoul. Han hung up, feeling both relief and worry. Yoon-hee worked for a big tech company. She had a nice apartment in Seoul, but they had grown apart after their parents died. The train arrived, and they boarded quickly. As they found seats, Nari finally let her human disguise drop. In the private compartment Agent Lee had booked, she returned to her blue-skinned form. We should be safe until Seoul, Agent Lee said, but Terran purity has eyes everywhere. In the city, Nari must appear human at all times. Nari nodded, though she looked exhausted. "What will we do in Seoul?" Park asked. "My sister can help us," Han said, hoping it was true. "And Agent Lee has contacts there, right?" Agent Lee nodded. "Yes, there are others who support alien-human cooperation, some in high places." As the train pulled away from the station, Han watched the landscape change from forests to fields. They were heading to the biggest city in Korea, where millions of people lived their normal lives, unaware that an alien sat among humans on a train bound for Seoul. Nari looked out the window with wonder. "Your world is so beautiful and varied," she said. "On my planet, much of the surface is the same." Han realized how brave she was, traveling alone to an alien world, following him, trusting him. "I'll keep you safe," he promised, "no matter what happens in Seoul." 3 days passed. Han and Park kept Nari hidden in the lab. They brought her food and taught her about daily life on Earth. Nari learned quickly. She asked many questions about human customs, feelings, and history. "Your people fight so much," she said one evening. "Yet you also create beautiful art and music. You are a strange mix." Han smiled. "I guess we are." Park brought his tablet to show Nari videos of different places on Earth. "This is Seoul, in South Korea, where Han and I are from." Nari watched the busy city with wide silver eyes. So many people, so much energy. Their quiet time ended suddenly when the base alarm sounded. A voice came over the speakers. "All staff report to the main hall." "Repeat, all staff to the main hall." Han and Park looked at each other with worry. "You stay here," Han told Nari. "Lock the door after we leave." In the main hall, Dr. Kim Dai stood at the front. He was tall and thin with a serious face. Next to him was a woman Han had never seen before. She wore a black coat and had sharp eyes that seemed to miss nothing. "This is Agent Lee Min," Dr. Kim announced. "She is here for a special inspection of our facility." Agent Lee stepped forward. "Thank you all for coming. I represent a special government division that monitors unusual activity. 3 nights ago, our satellites detected an unidentified object entering Earth's atmosphere near this location." Han felt his heart beat faster. She was talking about Nari's pod. "We have reason to believe the object landed in this area," Agent Lee continued. "Starting tomorrow, my team will search the surrounding forest. We will also inspect all buildings and labs at this facility." Park whispered to Han, "We need to hide her better, or move her." Han nodded slightly. This was very bad. After the meeting, Han and Park rushed back to the lab. Nari was waiting. "There's trouble," Han explained. "Government agents are looking for your pod. They will search the lab tomorrow." Nari's face showed no fear, but her voice was serious. "If they find me, what will happen?" Han didn't want to scare her, but he had to be honest. "They might take you away for testing. They might treat you like a lab animal." Park started pacing. "We need a plan. We can't let them find her." Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. The 3 froze. "Dr. Han, are you in there? It's Agent Lee. I'd like to speak with you." The voice was calm but firm. Han looked at Nari with panic. There was nowhere to hide her. To his shock, Nari's blue skin began to change. The color faded to a human tone. Her silver eyes darkened to brown. In seconds, she looked almost human, except for a slight glow to her skin. "Open the door," she whispered. "I can hold this form for a short time." Han opened the door with shaking hands. Agent Lee stood there, her sharp eyes taking in the lab, and the 3 people inside. "Dr. Han," she said, "and Dr. Park. But who is this?" She looked at Nari. Han tried to keep his voice steady. "This is Dr. Kang. She's visiting from the Seoul Research Center, helping with some tests." Agent Lee stepped into the lab, her eyes never leaving Nari. "Strange. Your director didn't mention any visitors." "It was arranged last minute," Park added quickly. Agent Lee walked slowly around the lab, looking at everything. Finally, She stopped in front of Nari. Dr. Kang, is it? What exactly is your field of study? Nari met her gaze without blinking. Xenobiology, like Dr. Han. For a long moment, Agent Lee said nothing. Then, to everyone's surprise, she closed the lab door and lowered her voice. I know what you are, she said to Nari, and I'm not here to hurt you. Han moved to stand between them. What do you mean? I'm not here to capture her, Agent Lee said. I'm here to protect her. She pulled out a small device and pressed a button. This blocks any listening devices. Now we can talk freely. Why would you protect her? Park asked, still suspicious. Because not everyone in our government fears the unknown. Agent Lee looked at Nari with respect. We've been preparing for first contact for years. But there are others, a group called Terran Purity, who want to keep Earth isolated. They're coming, and we don't have much time. Nari's human disguise faded, her skin returning to blue. You know about my people. Agent Lee nodded. More than these two realize. And we need to get you to safety before Terran Purity finds you. They're already on their way here. The next morning, Choi arrived early. We need to move quickly, he said. Our sensors detected Terran Purity agents in the city. They took Yoon-hee's private car to an old office building downtown. It looked empty and forgotten, with dusty windows and a closed sign on the door. The perfect hiding place, Choi explained. No one looks twice at abandoned buildings. Inside, Choi led them to an old elevator. He pressed a hidden button, and the elevator began to move down. How deep does this go? Park asked. 50 meters underground, Choi answered. Safe from most scans and sensors. The doors opened to reveal a surprising sight. A large, clean space filled with advanced technology. People in lab coats moved around, working at strange machines. Some looked normal, but others had a slight glow to their skin. Welcome to the network, Choi said proudly. Humans and Elysians working together. Nari stepped forward, her eyes wide. There are so many of my people here. A tall man approached them. He looked human, but when he saw Nari, his skin shifted slightly to show blue underneath. I am Todd, he said, leader of the Earth Elysians. Welcome, sister. Nari bowed slightly. I did not know others were here. That was necessary, Tae replied. Our presence had to remain secret until the right time. Han noticed that Tae seemed colder than Nari. His voice had less feeling, and his eyes didn't show emotion. Tae led them on a tour of the facility. Scientists worked on various projects, medical research, energy technology, and communication devices. We've been sharing knowledge with selected humans for 10 years, Tae explained, but only with those who understand the importance of our work. Which is what, exactly? Agent Lee asked. She had been quiet, watching everything with careful eyes. Survival, Ta said simply, for both species. They entered a large room where several Elysians sat in a circle. Their hands were linked, and a soft blue light passed between them. The memory circle, Tai explained. We share knowledge and memories this way. Nari, you should join them. Learn what has happened since you left home. Nari looked at Han, who nodded encouragingly. She joined the circle, taking the hands of two Elysians. As soon as she connected, her body stiffened and the blue light flowed into her. Is she okay? Han asked with worry. Yes, Ta said. She is receiving years of information. It will take time. While they waited, Choi showed Han and Park the research labs. Agent Lee went with Yoon-hee to review security measures. Your sister has been very helpful to our cause, Choi told Han. Techlogue technology has improved our communications with the Elysian homeworld. In one lab, Han saw something disturbing, human and Elysian DNA being combined in test tubes. What is this? He asked. The future, Choi said. Hybrid children. The first generation of a new species. Han felt uncomfortable. Does Nari know about this? Nari is special, Choi said carefully. She was modified before she came to Earth, made more compatible with humans. She's an experiment. This news hit Han hard. An experiment. Does she know? Before Choi could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Red lights flashed. "We're being attacked," someone shouted. Han ran back to the main room. The memory circle had broken apart. Neri stood alone, looking confused. "Han," she called when she saw him. "Something's wrong." Tai was shouting orders. "Secure the labs. Protect the research." Screens around the room showed security footage. Armed men in black uniforms were entering the building above. "Terran Purity found us," Agent Lee said, running into the room. "But how?" Choi appeared beside her, suddenly calm. "Because I told them." Everything happened quickly. Choi pulled out a gun. 2 other scientists did the same. "I'm sorry," Choi said, "but this has gone too far. Humans and Elysians were never meant to mix." Tom moved toward Choi, but Choi shot him. The Elysian fell to the ground. Chaos broke out. People ran in all directions. Gunshots echoed through the facility. Han grabbed Neri's hand. "We need to find Park and my sister." They ran down a corridor as lights flickered around them. The sound of fighting came from all directions. "Han, I learned something in the memory circle," Neri said as they ran. "The Elysians here, they're different from my group. They believe in taking Earth by force if necessary." "What about you?" Han asked, still running. Agent Lee led them through back alleys to a small apartment building. Her safe house was on the 3rd floor, a simple place with basic furniture and heavy curtains. "We should be safe here for a few hours," she said, "but we need a plan." Park turned on the TV. Every channel showed the same breaking news. Strange lights in the sky over major cities worldwide. "What's happening?" Han asked. Neri moved closer to the screen, her face pale. "Elysian ships. Many of them. They've entered Earth's atmosphere." The news showed people gathering in streets, pointing at the sky. Governments were issuing statements, telling citizens to remain calm. "It's too soon," Neri whispered. "The meeting should have been planned carefully, with both sides prepared." "Which faction are they from?" Agent Lee asked. "Yours or Ta's?" "I don't know," Neri admitted. "But this sudden appearance means something has gone wrong." Han realized the truth. The secret is out. The whole world now knows aliens exist. Yoon-hee, who had been quiet, spoke up. "Techlobe has access to government communications. I can try to find out what's happening." She used her phone to access her company's network. After a few minutes, her face turned serious. "Multiple Elysian ships are positioning themselves over major cities. Military forces worldwide are on high alert." She looked up grimly. "Some Elysian ships have already landed. Reports say they're taking humans." "Taking them where?" Park asked. "I don't know," Yoon-hee answered, "but government chatter suggests they're preparing for war." Han looked at Neri. "Can you contact your people? Tell them to stop." Neri closed her eyes. "I'll try. We can send thoughts across great distances, but it takes focus." As Neri concentrated, Agent Lee checked her weapons. "If this turns into a war between humans and Elysians, both sides lose." Han watched Neri, hoping she could reach someone who would listen. Everything had happened so fast, from finding a crashed pod in Alaska to the brink of interspecies war. Suddenly, Neri's eyes opened wide. "I reached them. The aggressive faction has taken control of the fleet. They believe peaceful contact has failed." She looked at Han with fear. "They're preparing to announce their demands to Earth's leaders." The world changed overnight. Elysian ships hung in the sky over every major city. Their message was simple: surrender or face destruction. "This can't be happening," Han said, watching the news in Agent Lee's apartment. The TV showed people running in the streets, soldiers with guns, and the large silver ships above. "We need to do something," Park said. "We can't just hide." Neri had been quiet for hours. Now she stood up, her blue skin glowing brightly. I have an idea. A dangerous one. Everyone looked at her. The Elysian High Council must not know what's happening here, she said. The aggressive faction is acting alone. If I can reach the council directly, they might stop this. How? Agent Lee asked. Can you send a message that far? No. But there's a communication device in my crashed pod, Nari explained. It can reach the council directly. It's why I was chosen for this mission. Han shook his head. Your pod is in Alaska, thousands of miles away, and Terran Purity is probably watching it. There's another way, Yoon, he said. She had been working on her laptop. Techlobe has developed communication technology based on Elysian designs. If we can reach my lab, we might be able to modify it. It was a risky plan, but they had no choice. The 5 of them left the apartment at dawn when the streets were quietest. Yoonhee's Techlobe building was 20 blocks away. The city felt strange. Some streets were empty. Others had military vehicles. People were either hiding in their homes or gathering in nervous crowds. Stay close, Agent Lee said. And Neri, keep your human appearance. They moved carefully, avoiding main roads. Once they had to hide when a group of Terran Purity agents drove past. After an hour, they reached the Techlobe building. It was mostly empty because of the crisis. My lab is on the 30th floor, Yoon-hee said. The elevator still works. In the lab, Yoon-hee and Neri worked quickly on a large communication device. Han, Park, and Agent Lee watched the door. Almost ready, Yoon-hee said after an hour of work. This will boost Neri's telepathic signal to reach her homeworld. Neri sat in a chair with wires connected to her head. This will be painful, she warned. But I must try. Yoon-hee activated the machine. Neri's body stiffened. Blue light pulsed from her skin. Her face showed pain, but she didn't make a sound. Long minutes passed. Then Neri gasped and fell forward, exhausted. Did it work? Han asked, running to her side. Yes, Neri whispered. I reached the council. They're sending ships to stop the aggressive faction. But it will take time. Agent Lee looked out the window. Time we don't have. Look. In the distance, an Elysian ship was firing beams of light at military positions. The invasion had begun. We need to reach the world leaders, Park said. Tell them help is coming. Tell them not to fight back yet. How? Han asked. No one will listen to us. I know how, Agent Lee said. The United Nations is holding an emergency meeting. I still have security clearance. They left the building and made their way to the Korean Government Center, where UN representatives had gathered. Agent Lee's badge got them inside. The meeting hall was filled with frightened officials from many countries. On a large screen, the UN secretary was speaking from New York. We must decide whether to surrender or fight, the secretary was saying. Han looked at his friends. Then, to everyone's surprise, he walked to the front of the room. Neri followed him. My name is Hanju, he said loudly, and I have information about the Elysians. Guards moved toward him, but stopped when Neri changed from her human form to her true blue form. Gasps filled the room. The ships attacking Earth do not represent all Elysians, Han continued. There are 2 factions. One wants peace. One wants control. The peaceful faction is sending help. On the screen, the secretary stared in shock. Who are you? How do you know this? Because I was the first human to meet an Elysian sent for peaceful contact, Han said. He looked at Neri. Help is coming. But we need time. As if in answer, the building shook. Outside, more Elysian ships appeared in the sky. But these were different, white instead of silver. The council ships, Neri said with relief. They came faster than I expected. In the hours that followed, the peaceful Elysian faction stopped the attack. The aggressive ships retreated or surrendered. 1 year later, Han stood with Nari on a hill overlooking Seoul. A new building rose in the center of the city. the Elysian Human Cooperation Center. Han now led the human side of the joint project. Nari led the Elysian side. "It's beautiful," Nari said, looking at the city. She wore a simple blue dress that matched her skin. "Yes," Han agreed. "And just the beginning." Nari took his hand. Her silver eyes met his. "You remember what I said when we first met? You're my first human. I'll follow your lead." Han smiled. "I remember. I was wrong," Nari said. "We lead together now." She placed his hand gently on her stomach. Han's eyes widened as he felt a slight movement. "The first true hybrid," Nari said softly. "Born of love, not experiments. The doctors say she's healthy, a perfect blend of both worlds." Han wrapped his arms around her, tears in his eyes. Above them, the sky held both Earth airplanes and Elysian ships, sharing the same peaceful space. Two species, once separate, now joined, a new future beginning with them. The end. "I was sent by those who want peaceful cooperation," Nari said. "That's why I was modified, to be more like humans in my emotions." They turned a corner and found Park helping Yoon-hee, who had a cut on her head. "Terran purity is everywhere," Park said, "and half the Elysians have turned against the other half. We need to get to the emergency exit," Yoon-hee said. "This way." As they moved through the chaos, Han realized something terrible. Their small group, 2 humans, 1 injured human, and 1 alien, might be the only ones left who believe humans and Elysians could live together peacefully. The betrayal had destroyed years of secret work in minutes. "We need to leave. Now." Agent Lee's voice was firm. "Terran purity has people inside every government agency. They know something landed here." Han looked at Nari with worry. "Where would we go?" "I have a safe house 300 miles south," Agent Lee said. "But we need to move quickly. Pack only what you need." Park began grabbing equipment. "I'll get supplies from the kitchen." While they prepared, Agent Lee checked her phone. Her face turned serious. "Change of plans. They're closer than I thought. We need to leave through the forest. Their team is coming by road." 20 minutes later, they slipped out the back door of the lab. The night was cold and dark. No stars were visible through the thick clouds. "Stay close," Han told Nari. "The forest can be dangerous at night." They walked quickly through the trees. The only light came from Agent Lee's small flashlight. After an hour, they heard the distant sound of helicopters. "They're searching with thermal cameras," Agent Lee said. "Nari, does your body give off heat like humans?" "Yes, but I can lower my temperature for short periods," Nari replied. "Good. You may need to do that." The group reached a small river. The water rushed over rocks, black in the darkness. "We need to cross," Agent Lee said. "The water will hide our heat signatures." Han went first, testing the depth with a stick. "It's not too deep, but the current is strong." Park helped Nari into the cold water. She gasped but didn't complain. The water reached their waists at the deepest part. Just as they reached the other side, bright lights appeared in the sky above them. "Helicopter," Park whispered. "Hide." They scrambled under a rocky overhang by the riverbank. Nari's skin turned almost transparent as she lowered her body temperature. The helicopter passed directly overhead, its searchlight scanning the trees. For several minutes, no one spoke. When the sound of the helicopter faded, Agent Lee checked her GPS device. "There's an old hunting cabin 2 miles ahead. We can rest there until morning." They continued through the forest, wet and cold. Han stayed close to Nari, worried about her. The alien moved gracefully despite her clear exhaustion. "Are you okay?" Han asked quietly. "Yes, this is exciting," Nari replied. "On my world, we live very protected lives. We don't have adventures like this." Han laughed softly. "I wouldn't call running for our lives exciting." "That's what makes humans interesting," Nari said. "You face danger, yet you still make jokes." The cabin was small and dusty, but it offered shelter from the cold. Park found some old blankets while Agent Lee secured the doors and windows. Sitting by a small fire they dared to light in the fireplace, Neri finally explained more about her mission. "I was sent to study humans, but also to prepare you for contact," she said. "My people, the Elysia, are facing a serious problem. Our population is shrinking. We have few children now." "Why tell humans about this?" Park asked. "Because we discovered something surprising," Neri continued. "Our genetic code shares similarities with humans. We believe we might be compatible." Han's eyes widened. "Compatible? You mean?" "Yes. We think our species might be able to reproduce together, or at least, with genetic help, create a new hybrid species." Neri looked at her hands. "That's why my mission was so important, and why some Elysians tried to stop me. They don't want to mix with humans." Agent Lee nodded. "And that's why Terran Purity is so afraid. They don't want humans mixing with aliens either." Han felt the weight of this information. Neri wasn't just an ambassador. She was here to save her species. "Tomorrow we continue south," Agent Lee said. "I've contacted my people. They'll meet us halfway." As the others prepared to sleep, Han stepped outside. The clouds had cleared, and stars filled the sky. Somewhere up there was Neri's home world. And now their futures were connected. When he returned inside, Neri was waiting by the door. "You're worried," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, this is bigger than I expected. I'm sorry I brought danger to you," Neri said. Han shook his head. "Don't be. Meeting you is the most important thing that's ever happened to me." Neri smiled, her silver eyes reflecting the starlight. "To me as well, Hanju." The northern lights danced in the sky above Alaska. Green and blue waves moved like magic curtains over the stars. Hanju stood alone in the cold forest, his breath making small clouds in the air. He looked up at the sky and smiled. "Beautiful," he said to himself. He was not talking to anyone. No one else was at this spot, 10 miles from the research base where he worked. Han was 28 years old. He studied alien life forms, even though humans had never met any. He had thick black hair and kind eyes. His job was to look for signs of life in samples from Mars and Europa. Today was his day off, so he came to the forest to be alone. He took out his camera to take pictures of the lights in the sky. Then he saw something strange. A bright streak cut across the northern lights. It looked like a falling star, but it was moving too slowly. "That's not normal," Han said. He watched as the object fell toward the forest about a mile away. There was no big crash, just a soft thud that Han could barely hear. Han should have called the base. That would be the safe thing to do. But his curiosity was too strong. He put his camera in his backpack and started walking toward where the object had landed. After 30 minutes of walking through the snow, Han saw broken trees ahead. Something had cut a path through the forest. He followed the trail of broken branches. In a small clearing, he found it. A smooth, oval-shaped pod about the size of a car. It was silver with strange blue lines that glowed softly. It was like nothing made on Earth. "This can't be happening," Han whispered. He had studied the idea of alien life for years, but he never truly believed he would see proof. The pod had a crack along one side. As Han got closer, the crack widened. The pod was opening. Han froze. He should run. He should call for help. But he couldn't move. The pod opened fully, and Han saw what was inside. His heart beat faster. A figure lay inside the pod. It looked almost human, but not quite. Its skin was light blue and seemed to shine slightly, like it had tiny stars under the surface. The face was delicate with high cheekbones. The figure was female in shape, dressed in a simple gray outfit that looked like it was made of liquid metal. Han took one step closer. Was she dead? He had to know. Just then, the alien's eyes snapped open. Han gasped and stepped back. Her eyes were silver with no pupils, just shining pools of light. The alien sat up smoothly. She looked at Han with no fear, only curiosity. Then, to his complete shock, she spoke. "Hello." Her voice was soft and musical, and she spoke perfect Korean. "You are human." Han couldn't speak for a moment. Finally, he found his voice. "Yes, I'm human. My name is Hanju. I'm a scientist. I study the possibility of life like you." The alien tilted her head. "I am Neri. I was sent to make contact with humans." She looked around at the snowy forest. "This is not where I was supposed to land." "What happened to your ship?" Han asked, finding his courage. "It was damaged. Some of my people do not want contact with humans. They tried to stop me." She stood up slowly, moving with strange grace. "You're my first human. I'll follow your lead." Han's mind raced. An alien was standing in front of him. An alien who spoke Korean and looked almost human. An alien who needed his help. "Are you hurt?" he asked. "My body will heal," Neri said. "But I am in danger. Others will look for me. Both my people who don't want contact, and your people who might fear me." Han knew she was right. If the government found her, she would be taken away, studied, maybe even hurt. He made a quick decision. "Come with me," he said. "I have a research base nearby. I can hide you there while we figure out what to do." Neri nodded and took a step toward him. "You are kind, Hanju. My studies said humans could be kind." As they walked through the snowy forest, Han realized his life would never be the same again. The stars above seemed to watch them, a human and an alien, taking the first steps toward a new future.